Hello everybody, so this is me showing supplies. You need a 3-hole punch. You need a single hole punch. You need a permanent marker. Your print. This one is actually a linoleum print, not a styrofoam print. A regular piece of paper. 2 sheets of the homemade paper. 2 of them, and there should be enough for everybody. I checked. And depending on what class you're in, either about 28 sheets of paper or 70 sheets of paper. Depends on what class you're in. If you're in 7th and 8th grade, you need more paper. So, getting started, we want to have holes punched in our homemade paper. And to do that and get them lined up correctly, we actually have to punch the holes in a regular sheet of paper first. So if your paper should come to you and it's not hole punched, this is how you do it. You put your paper in under the little tongue things, line it up so it's even, try to get it as centered as possible, press down, and once you take the paper out, it is magically 3-hole punch. Now, those are even because you used a 3-hole punch. If we just went at it with a single hole punch, it wouldn't work. So I'm going to line my sheet of paper up with my homemade paper. Now, I did not put that all the way at the edge. The reason is the edges will rip if it's too close. When we put the holes in the paper, we don't want them to rip. So, I'm going to take my permanent marker. I'm going to mark the holes so that they're, again, equidistant apart. We want them to be evenly spaced, so I'm going to mark all of them. Take my paper off, and voila, we got holes where they need to be. So, with your 3 holes, you're going to either use a single hole punch. You can use it if you want. If you have a thinner piece of homemade paper, it might work better. Again, the paper's got to fit underneath the tongue. This paper is too thick, so I personally prefer to use a pencil or a pen. Now, in this scenario, I'm using a pen because I was too lazy to get up and get a pencil at this point in time. But what I would say to you is you 100% should probably use a pencil. Now, notice, I put my finger underneath. Look, I'm showing you the hole that got poked through. But as you watch, when I'm stabbing it, I put my finger underneath. That way I feel when the pen or the pencil has gone through. Okay? I'm not straight up jabbing it in there because I would stab my finger. So keep that in mind when you are doing this. So now I've got my 3 holes punched. You need to do that 2 times. 2 times. If your paper does not come to you pre-hole punch, 2 times. If it looks suspicious and the holes look too close together to you and you line it up with a piece of your already pre-hole punch paper and it doesn't match, you should probably do it again. So this is how you do it. Okay. Moving on. All of your papers should have 3 holes in them. So your 2 pieces of homemade paper. Your stack of plain white paper should have the 3 holes in them. And finally, your print should, but look, my print does not. Now, keep in mind, when you're opening a book, you want this to be your cover page, the first thing you see when you open the front cover. So, watch what I do here. I'm going to check, I'm going to be like, okay, I open a book that way, this is right. So now, I'm going to do exactly what I told you last time. Put it under the little tongues, slide it in there, get it as center as possible, and slap it. So, there we go. 3-hole punched. Everything should be 3-hole punched. If it's not 3-hole punched, it's going to suck when you go to put together your sketchbook. It's not going to work because there's nowhere to put your string. So then we need to make the ultimate book sandwich. So I like to start from the bottom and build up. So I'm going to put my bottom piece of homemade paper because that's my back cover. I'm going to put all my sketchbook pages. That's my inside, the part where we're going to draw on. And I'm going to put my print on top of that, because it's the front cover page of my book, and I'm going to put my last piece of homemade paper on top. So, here we have the book sandwich. Now, me straightening it out like that, as I'm doing my Vanna White impression, me straightening it out like that did not really help, so we're going to have to do a different step to fix that. So, you need string of your color choice. It has to be equivalent to 2 lengths of your book. Okay, that's what it's going to say on the board. That works for some people if you're better at tying knots and doing things than me. Personally, I have found it's going to take me about 3, and you're going to see that in just a minute. So I've got 2 book lengths of string here. I am going to cut it, so I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut. There we go. Now, here I am popping it out, 2 book lengths of paper, or I mean 2 book lengths of string. And I'm going to show you how to tie a knot. Make a loop, right? Then put the end of your string back through the loop. So over the top, and through, and pull. That's a knot. Now, if I were to put this string through my book right now, the knot's not going to stop it because the hole is too big and the knot is too small. So here I am. Now when I try to make these knots, I'm trying to keep that knot that I've already made in the center of the circle that I'm looping it back through. The reason is that helps it end up back in the same place. You see how it's getting bigger because I keep knotting on top of knots? Knot on top of knot on top of knot. That's how we do it. So you're going to do this a few times, and as you're going to see later in this video, even though I am knotting it this much, it still slides through when I do the first pull. So you might have to knot it even more. Keep that in mind. But what you're going for is a really big knot, multiple knots on top of each other. Alright, so that's what you should have. Then, you're going to need 2 binder clips. I do not have a lot of binder clips, so please share with your friends. Help your friend make their book. Do all the things. And a pencil. Because remember earlier when I said pencils were easier for stabbing, I had to get up and get one, so you might have to too. So this is me trying to align on my sheets. So I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to stab it through. Remember, this is a sketchbook and this is a pencil. So if I mark on a page, it's going to be fine because I can erase it. And also it's a sketchbook and sketches aren't meant to be perfect. So here I am doing a little stabby through. I'm trying to make sure my pencil goes through all of my papers and everything's even. I'm going to line it up. I'm going to try to line up the rest of my pages so that everything fits, everything matches. Some of my papers are easier to get through than others, so I might do one stack that is like already aligned, because remember, we have all kinds of people that have been hole punching this stuff for us, so they might not match up just perfect. So once you get all your white papers through, you've got both covers, your print, and all your white papers. You should line them up the best you can using your pencil. Now check it out. I'm checking, I'm checking, I'm checking, I'm quadruple checking, I'm quintuple checking, I'm checking the most. I'm doing the most. You should too, because it's going to make your life easier in the future. Now, I'm going to take my binder clip, and now that I know my pages are lined up, I'm going to binder clip that. Alright? Binder clip it, make sure everything is lined up. Now, I'm going to do one more. I know the bottom hole's lined up. I'm going to try to line up my other holes. Okay? See? If it doesn't quite match up, pop a new hole in your recycled paper, as mistakes can be made. Now, I'm going to take my last binder clip. Remember, there's 2 of them. And I'm going to put it in between the top 2 holes. So the bottom 2 holes and the top 2 holes. So, that's what it should look like. And make sure you snap those down, because if you don't, it's going to get annoying when you start putting your string through. There you go. There's your book sandwich. It should be pretty lined up. Now, I'm about to tell you something. Multiple times in this process do I mess up. Multiple times. So get ready for that. I'm going to show you all the mistakes you can make because I made them myself. But we fixed them. So I'm going to go through the back with my string. I'm going to go through the back, the top hole, the bottom hole, whichever. You got to pick one. And you're going to put it through. Now, we don't have needles, but we do have pencils, and those are pointy. So we're going to use our pencils to guide our string through. Remember, you can pick any color string, by the way. But we're going to use our pencil to guide it through. It's going to be kind of hard. You got to have your finger on the other side. And you got to wait until you feel it and then pull it through. There you go. Starts on one side, comes out the other. Now look, I just pulled that through. That sucks. So, I've got to make more knots. Okay? So, knot on top of knot on top of knot. Now remember, this is going to go through, and we're going to add multiple levels of strings through the same hole. So the hole will actually get smaller because we're adding more string. So don't worry if it's got a little bit, like, maybe it could slip through, but we're getting close. That's fine. Just hold it on that side and then keep going, which is what I'm about to do because, you know, we're doing our best here. So I'm going to do it again. Start from one side, preferably the back side. take your pencil, guide it through. As you can see, my recycled paper is absolutely falling apart. Don't worry about it. I'll show you how to fix it later, because that's what we do in here. We're not looking for perfection, but we are looking that you tried and that you did the project. So here I am. I guided it through. Notice I did not yank it through like I did last time, strategically. Now you're going to go through that exact same hole, because we're trying to make a loop around the top corner of that. So you're going to go through the same hole that you just came out of. So we put it through one side, we're going to loop it over the top, and we're going to bring it back through the other. So here I am, I'm pulling it. Now look, see that? We got a loop that goes over the top of those pages. See how the page is bent? Alright, if I'm looking elsewhere, by the way, it's because I'm looking for my dog. So, here we go, we've got it done. Now catch me there, I'm glimpsing, I'm looking at the instructions. You should do that too. Don't just follow this video because I could lead you wrong. I don't know. So, we're going to go through the next hole. The easy way to remember this, the hole that you just, the side that you just came out of is the side that you're going to enter in next. So, same side, right? So, we're going to press through that hole again because it wasn't big enough. Oh, they don't match up. That's a whole nother problem too. So, we're going to put it through one and then go through the other. But then my paper is going to break. And we'll fix it later, because like I said, we can do this. So, I'm trying to get my string through my hole. It doesn't want to cooperate. I'm going to keep going though, because triers can't be criers, and I'm going to try my hardest. So, pressing in with the pencil. And there we go. Now, be careful of your binder clips, because remember, you will have to take them on in the end. Your binder clips aren't just going to stay on the whole time. So, I've got it through to the other side. Now, I've got to bring it through the bottom hole. Right? Because we did 3 holes, so this is our bottom hole. And if you can see, my holes don't quite match up between my regular paper and my recycled paper. So, what I'm going to do is just slip it through the first hole of the recycled paper, and then I'm going to slip it through the rest of the paper. So now that I've got it through the first hole of the recycled paper, I'm going to take it and I'm going to use my pencil to guide it through the next hole. But as you can see, I've got a frayed end, which is really annoying. So I'm going to twist, I'm going to twist, I'm going to twist, I'm going to try to get my ends to come back together. I'm still twisting, I'm still doing the best that I can. I had to let my dog out, that's why the cut was there. And then I'm going to put a little bit of the spit from my tongue on my finger and try to do that. If you think that's gross, that's fine, but that's the way my grandma taught me how to sew. I can't sew worth a crap, but that's the way I was taught, so that's the way I do it. So, again, look at that. See how well that worked? It worked well. So, again, the back side doesn't quite line up either, so you know what we're going to do? Same thing we do on the front side. Now that we've got it through the regular paper, we're going to go through the back. Oh no, it broke. Don't worry about it. We're going to fix it later. Don't you worry. Now, just like the bottom, we got to loop it around again, and we're going back through the same hole. Okay? But I don't have enough string. I'm going to look at it again. I'm looking at the steps. I'm like, do I have enough string to complete the steps? No, I do not. What's going to happen? This is why I told you should probably use 3 lengths instead of 2. So I'm going to pick up my string again, and I'm going to do about another book length of string. Cut that off. I'm just guesstimating here, by the way. And then we're going to take both of our things, make them into an X, make a loop with one of them. So I'm looping it around my finger because I find that to be easier. You get to stay outside for a minute. Around the back, I'm telling my dog he can't come back inside. Now, I pull that string back through the loop. That other string is just hanging out inside of the loop. And then I'm going to pull the loop string. And look at that. Those 2 strings are attached. Imagine. So now, we're going to do that one more time. Except, we're just going to cross the 2 ends that are sticking out. Looks pretty good. Pull tightly, because you want this to be tight. Do it again. Cross the 2 strings that are sticking out. Pull tightly. Now, I'm going to do a stress test here. I'm pulling pretty tight. I'm making sure that if I yank on it, it's going to stay. FYI, it doesn't, but we'll fix that later too. So, now, cut her off, because we don't want little weird strings hanging out. And then, what's it look like? Oop, hold on, I got string on my hand. What's it look like? one big long string with just a little knot in it. And that little knot's not going to make a difference, and it's going to get hidden in one of the holes anyway. So, we have wrapped that string around. We're going back through the same hole. And yes, it is. We're doing that one on top first before we go through our paper because, again, they don't match up, but don't worry about it. It's fine. These are homemade sketchbooks, so they're going to have that homemade vibe, and trust me, it's fine. People like it. It's rustic, and you made it yourself, so be proud that you made it. It'll be great to do our bell ringers in. It'll be great to take home with you. You will always have this experience. So, again, I'm struggling. Don't worry about it. I just keep poking with my pencil, filling across the back side until I can finally pinch it and get it through. I'm looking. I'm getting a little bit frustrated. Don't worry about it. Ain't nothing. So, once you finally get it poked through, if I ever get it, because I'm really on the struggle bus today. Also, don't make fun of my nails and my fingers. The reason they look like that and they're so dark is because we've been messing with ink, right, to make our prints, and that's why. So, using my pencil, now look, my string has separated, and it's created a little bubble, so only the green part went through. Now the green and the blue part went through, that's fine. So, I'm just going to straighten it back out, pull it on through, if I can get it to work, and, oops, it didn't quite make it through my print, did it? So, I'm going to poke it through my print, doing my best to get them both to come through at the same time. Like I told you, a bunch of mistakes are going to happen, and the blue separates again, but it's fine. We pull it through, keep pulling, and then there it is. Look at that. It looks like one piece of string, but it's not. It's just been woven back through. So now we're on the other side again. You just entered this side, so you're going to exit this side. So make sure your string is straight and start to poke through the next hole. Again, our green is still way longer than our blue, but don't worry about it. We'll fix it later. So we're going through the middle hole now, poking it through with our pencil, doing the best that we can. My pencil slides away from me because it just doesn't like me. And look at this. I'm not happy with that, so guess what I'm going to do? Trim, and it's perfect. Look at that. Couldn't have done it better myself, even though I did it myself. Don't question me. So, we're going to poke that through. It's much easier now because I have fixed the problem. Well, I said that, but apparently it's not. I'm going to move the clip because the clip is in my way, apparently. It's like blocking the hole that I want to go through, so goodbye. Since we've already got string around things, things are going to stay together. We don't really need the clip anymore. Be careful that when you're opening your clip back up to take it off, that you don't get your metal, like, springy things stuck in your string, because that's not fun. And so I just solved that problem for myself, because when I saw it started to get a little bit tangled, then I went ahead and adjusted myself. So, here I am again, still trying to get the string through that hole. As you can tell, this project takes a lot of perseverance. You gotta have faith, like that George Michael song. So, I'm keeping on. I've got it through, except my ripped in the homemade paper. Don't worry about that. We'll fix it later, like I keep telling you. Now, we're going back through the first hole. Back with that knot that I told you was kind of too small, but don't worry about it because we're going to put the string through a bunch of times. This is what I meant. This will be our third time going through this hole. So, it'll be perfectly fine. That knot will stay. So, I'm going to try to poke it through. Poke it through, poke it through, poke it through. And I'm going to get confused a little bit. I'm going to be like, oh no, did I do the wrong string? And as it turns out, no, I didn't. But we're doing our best to fix things. I've messed something up. I don't realize it. But, you know, it'll stay together. Watch till the end. So, now I'm like, oh, well, I don't like that this slack is here. I'm going to try to fix it. I'm trying to pull on these strings, and so, as you can see, I'm going to take this binder clip off after I figure out how to take it off, because again, like I told you, it's more complicated than you would think. It's just So then I got it off. Now I'm like, I don't like this slack. Here I am trying to fix it again. I'm gonna pull it through. Yeah. And then a mishap happens. So as I'm pulling this through, I'm trying to get rid of the slack. I'm getting confused, but I'm not worrying too much because I'm like, you know what? It's gonna get done, and it's gonna be fine. So I keep pulling, and you'll see in a moment that the unthinkable happens. My string completely just snaps on me. So keep watching for this tragic moment. I should put some sad music in here or something, but to be honest, editing this video tonight is not top on my to-do list. So watch this. I'm pulling it through. I'm doing my best. I'm flipping things over. I'm confused, but we're getting it. And see that piece sticking up? It's not connected to the other one, so you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna knot it together. I'm still gonna fix the slack first though, because now I think I've got it. So now look at that. My two ends cross them like an X. Loop one over the other. Bring it underneath and pull. So look at that, problem solved. Don't worry about it. And if you need to, you could even add another small piece of string to knot them together. So there are multiple solutions to the same problem. So now back to my other side. Everything is not slack. We haven't knotted off our final piece of string. So that's what we're gonna do next. And kind of like we did the first one, we're gonna knot it multiple times because we don't want it sliding back through. But remember that thing I told you about, how we have multiple pieces of string going through that hole, and so there's a smaller area for it to go through? Yeah, that's gonna work in our favor. We might not have to knot it just as many times as the other one. This one's gonna be harder too because you have to pull straight up, right? I can't have this floating in my hands wherever I want it to. I have to pull straight up. So that's what you see me do here. I'm trying to get this knot. I'm pulling straight up, but I'm not worried because this one does not have to be as big as the other one. So no worries. There we go. I got it to where I like it. I cut the excess off. There's my book. Now, you can have edges that are more uniform than this if you bring it to me and have me cut it before you start bookbinding. After you start bookbinding, it's a little bit harder. I might cut off part of your print. So before would be best, but we can do after too. Now look, this piece of paper didn't line up right, so I'm just gonna take my marker and I'm gonna draw right where that dot was, but up just a little. Because remember how I told you if it was too close to the edge that it would rip apart? That's what I'm gonna do. Take my pencil, poke it through, not dabbing too hard because I don't want to stab myself. There you go. But ironically, this piece of paper has holes on the other side, so I'm going to try it. But I wanted to show you that quick fix. Now, my whole book is bound, but I don't have a front cover. Whatever am I to do? Place my cover on the top with the holes that I know will fit. Grab small pieces of string. Not too small, because it'd be hard to knot. And you're going to run it through the holes on your cover page, back page, whichever page fell off. Now, look at that. I've just got it through there. Now, I'm going to go under one of my book binds. I'm going to lift up. I'm going to slide it over. And now I'm going to knot it. So I'm just going to go whoop and make an X. Put one under the other and pull. And there it is. I'm going to do this a couple times though because I want it to be secure. I don't want the cover to be falling off my book. There we go. Look at that. Voila. We are going to do this 2 more times because as you can see now only one corner is fitting. So what do we do next? We cut ourselves off another piece of string. So the first piece of string that I used was actually some that I cut off when I added that extra piece of string because I was so silly and I did not cut enough string to start with. So now I'm taking my pencil, I'm guiding my string through. This is a new piece of string and we're going to do the same thing again. So now that we have our string through, we're not going to pull it all the way through because that would be silly because it just comes right out the other side. And I'm going to go to the nearest binding that I can pull up, slide my new piece of string under, scoop my paper in, and we're going to do the same thing. Make an X, loop one side under the other, doesn't really matter which, pull, do it again. I would recommend doing this at least 3 times. At least 3 times, okay? If you have to attach your cover or your back separately from the rest of your bookbinding because you have breakage, because the holes didn't line up and you couldn't quite get it to work, whatever the reason is, this is how I would do it. I'd poke a small piece of string through with my pencil. I'd slip the string beneath the bookbind, and then I would knot it together at least 3 times. Also, if you ever need help knotting something, please let me know. Now, that if you can knot on your own, don't just call me over so I can do the knots for you. The reason is there are people who genuinely do not know how to tie knots in your class, I'm sure, and they could use my help tying knots. So these are simple knots. I'm not looking for a fishing knot. I'm not looking for anything fancy. I'm looking for functional, which means it can be used. You knotted it, it can be used. So as you can see, I don't know if I'm doing 3 or 4 on these, but I would recommend at least 3. Look, there's my book. Remember, you can cut the edges so they match. It opens up. It shows my cover page with my chicken. If I keep flipping, I can get to my sketchbook pages. Wow. Cover page is my chicken. Make sure your print is on the front. Make sure you open it like a regular book. Now look, here's something important. Mine doesn't have that neat little white space that your guys does. As you can see, there was a reason I did it that way. But you're going to want to write your name on there, because even though you have a unique print, what if somebody did the same thing? What if somebody tried to pass off their work as yours? All that stuff. So put your name on it, please. Put your name on it. Even if it's on the black red line, you can still see it. And your book opens and closes. It's ready to do bell ringers in. So, congratulations. You have made a book. Feel free to back this up and watch again. Thanks!